Every morning, the first person you meet in the mirror is the one with the greatest power to shape your entire day. Yet, ironically, it's also the person you most frequently forget. Mel Robbins' 5-second habit isn't a superficial guide to positivity, but an invitation to a bold experiment to try a habit that seems ridiculously simple, yet has the power to completely shift how you see yourself. The book doesn't sugarcoat success with a step-by-step formula. Instead, it frankly questions why we're so quick to cheer on others, but so cruelly harsh on ourselves, when a simple, daily action could tap into the very roots of self-confidence and self-belief. Could it reach the very core of your self-confidence and self-trust? Will you dare to try, or will you dismiss it as pointless? That morning, I stood before the bathroom mirror. Toothbrush still in hand, hair disheveled, bra not yet on, my mind heavy with a daunting to-do list. The dark circles under my eyes, the wrinkled skin on my stomach, my pointy chin, they all made me feel even more disgusted with myself. My mind immediately unleashed a barrage of criticism. I look awful, I need to work out more. I hate my neck. The more I thought, the deeper I sank into that heavy feeling. The first Zoom call hadn't even started, emails were unanswered, work was piling up. My father was waiting for biopsy results, the dog needed walking. The kids, of course, had an endless list of demands. It all came crashing down before I'd even had a sip of coffee. I just wanted to abandon everything, plop down in a chair, and let the world spin on without me. But the truth was, no one could do it for me. No one would finalize the contract, bear the brunt of a difficult conversation at work, or get on the treadmill in my place. I longed for a hand to reach out, a gentle voice to say, "Yes, it's all overwhelming, but if anyone can handle it, it's you." Yet, even though I was accustomed to motivating thousands of other people, I couldn't think of a single encouraging word for myself. And then, suddenly, I raised my hand, placing it directly in front of the mirror like a silent greeting. I just wanted to say, "I see you, I love you, come on, Mel." In that instant, I realized it was a high-five, an act that seemed clumsy, overly familiar, even a little silly, yet held an unexpected power. In that mirror, I no longer saw just a tired face, but a friend who needed encouragement. As my hand touched my own reflection, a wave of relief spread through my chest, my shoulders automatically straightened, and a faint, forced smile played on my lips. But unlike just seconds before, I felt I was no longer alone. The next day, still burdened by the same pressures and chaos, I stepped into the bathroom again. And this time, my first instinct was to raise my hand. Without thinking, my hand touched the mirror again, and I burst out laughing at my own strangeness. By the third day, I was even more eager, my steps quicker, my heart anticipating it as if I were about to meet a best friend at 6:00 a.m. It was something I never thought I'd experience. A simple joy derived from looking into my own eyes and giving myself a high five. Reflecting, I suddenly recalled all the high fives in my life, playing sports as a teenager, running marathons with friends, or sitting in the stands at Fenway Park, witnessing the stadium erupt in cheers when the home team scored. All of them were tied to belief. The encouragement, the energy spreading from one hand touching another. A high five was never just a physical touch. It was a silent promise. I believe in you. I'm rooting for you. In 2001, I ran the New York Marathon just 2 months after 9/11. I hadn't trained enough, my shoes were new. My body was exhausted after countless nights with young children. Along the seemingly endless course, there were moments I wanted to quit. My knees trembled. Blisters on my feet burst, stinging painfully. But the stream of people on the sidewalks, the continuous hands reaching out, those high fives lifted me up. Each touch gave me energy, helping me take one more step until I crossed the finish line. So why don't we bring that same energy into our daily lives instead of letting self-criticism drag us down? Why not learn to cheer ourselves on? Step by tiny step, day after day, this question urged me on, and I realized that my entire life, I had high-fived friends, colleagues, even strangers. But rarely, almost never, did I do it for myself. When we pour all our encouragement into others and forget ourselves, the most important relationship, the one with ourselves, becomes depleted. We know how to organize birthday parties for loved ones, cheer on friends, scream encouragement for our idols, yet standing before the mirror, we scold ourselves. How ironic. So it's time for a change. I want to teach you the habit I call the high five habit. It's not just a gesture. It's a way to reverse the trajectory of your mind, transforming harshness into compassion, doubt into encouragement. It's the beginning of a lifestyle, a different way of seeing yourself, from which you can then change your entire worldview. Science has proven that when we repeat a behavior, the brain forms new pathways. High-fiving yourself every morning is one such behavior. It connects decades of positive high-five memories with your image in the mirror. Instead of repeatedly hearing the voice of criticism, you gradually create a new habit, looking into your own eyes and feeling encouragement. The day I dared to post a picture of myself high-fiving on social media, with no caption, no explanation, just that moment. Something unexpected happened. Droves of people from all over the world started doing the same, from men, women, and children to the elderly. From luxury apartments to the temporary shelter of a domestic violence center, they sent back photos of themselves high-fiving in the mirror. Just a simple, inexpensive act that could convey a sense of being seen, acknowledged, and energized without a single word. A hand touching the mirror was enough to say, "I believe in you, I'm with you." The question is, why is something so simple so powerful? The answer lies in science and in our collective memory from childhood. Every time we achieve something, a friend, a coach, or even a stranger would reach out and high-five us. In that moment, we didn't need an explanation, just the slap of hands and bright eyes. The brain immediately registered. I've been acknowledged, I've done something worthwhile. So when you high-five yourself in the mirror, your brain doesn't distinguish who it is. It only knows that the action is linked to encouragement, belief, and joy. Negative thoughts are immediately blocked. At least for that brief moment, just try it. You can't simultaneously raise your hand to touch the mirror and think, "I'm a failure, I hate myself." Your brain refuses to let two conflicting thoughts exist at the same time. Not only that, high fives also pull you back to the present. Instead of letting your mind drift through a to-do list or endless worries, you are forced to focus on the touch, on your reflected gaze, on the unspoken message. "I see you, I believe in you." That is the power of presence. Studies also support this. In one experiment, children had to complete difficult tasks. The group praised for being smart gave up easily. The group praised for effort was more persistent. But the group that received high fives was the most tenacious, enjoyed the challenges the most, and overcame failures most easily. A high five. That simple. Yet it proved to be more powerful than even words of praise. Researchers also found that sports teams who frequently high-fived, patted shoulders, and shook hands from the very beginning of the season were often the ones who went the farthest, even winning championships. Why? Because each touch is an unspoken commitment. "I'm here, I believe in you, we are one." That builds trust, boosts team spirit, and transforms them into an unbeatable collective. Look at the workplace. Google conducted a 3-year study called Project Aristotle. The key factor for team success wasn't salary or vacation time, but psychological safety, the feeling that each person felt seen and supported. So why don't we start creating that safety for ourselves, right in the bathroom every morning? A high five with yourself is a declaration that you matter, you deserve to be acknowledged, and you deserve to take up space right now. The impact goes even deeper when considering neuroscience. Dr. Lawrence Katz at Duke University researched neurobics, exercises that make the brain form new pathways by combining unexpected behavior with desired emotions. For example, brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand while repeating a positive affirmation. The brain remembers it more strongly because the unfamiliarity forces it to focus. High-fiving yourself is similar. It's a familiar behavior placed in an unexpected context, touching the mirror, facing yourself. Combined with the emotion of encouragement, this action forces the brain to link your self-image with positivity. The more you repeat it, the more your brain reinforces that pathway, making it the new default. Instead of looking in the mirror and seeing flaws, you will gradually see a person worthy of trust and love. I witnessed the power of neurobics through my son, Ollie's, learning journey. When we discovered he had dyslexia and dysgraphia, we enrolled him in a specialized school. There, teachers used games to train brain flexibility. For instance, a flashing light board required children to use their left hand to touch a light on the right, and vice versa. This repeated cross-body action helped form new neural connections, changing how the brain processed language, and I saw my son make clear progress. High-fiving yourself is a similar neurobic exercise. It connects your brain with the positive message you've associated with high fives your entire life. When you look in the mirror, raise your hand, your subconscious immediately whispers, "I am worthy of trust, worthy of encouragement." The more you do it, the more your brain believes it. Scientists like Dr. Judy Willis also confirm that the brain can change, and this habit is a way to create new automatic behaviors. It's not just psychological, it actually rewires neural pathways. In other words, you are retraining your brain, replacing the voice of criticism with a voice of encouragement. Another study at the University of Hertfordshire in the UK showed that the greatest predictor of happiness isn't income or health, but the level of self-acceptance. In other words, self-kindness is the key. Yet most of us treat it as the very last thing to practice. We force ourselves to drink green smoothies, hit the gym, meditate, diet, but still mentally beat ourselves up with phrases like, not good enough, not fast enough, not smart enough. The root of this harsh habit lies in childhood. Many parents blame themselves, then unconsciously pass it on to their children. Come on, don't cry, I got hit when I was little and I turned out fine. These seemingly harmless phrases plant the message in a child's mind that strictness, even harm, is normal. And so we grow up to become our own harshest critics. The problem is that harshness doesn't create motivation. It only paralyzes us, makes us give up, and keeps us stuck. To break free, we have to break that cycle and practice self-kindness. But remember, this isn't about toxic positivity. It doesn't tell you to pretend suffering is wonderful or that everything is fine. It's simply an act of affirmation. No matter what has happened, I still deserve support to keep moving forward. I was once a criminal defense attorney, witnessing the vicious cycles of poverty, injustice, and systemic discrimination crushing people's lives. I know there are pains that cannot be erased, but high-fiving gives you the extra strength to face them. It doesn't change your circumstances, but it changes you. It gives you the belief that you can survive, keep going, and then, step by step, rewrite your own story. Listen to Jen's story, a woman undergoing her 5th round of chemotherapy. She said staying positive is 99% of the battle against cancer. I always worried about everyone else, cheering them on, but I forgot to cheer myself on. High-fiving in the mirror reminded her, you can do it, you are strong. It wasn't medicine, but it was a mental vitamin that helped her keep fighting. When I posted a picture of myself high-fiving online, no caption, no hashtag, just a raw moment, I never expected the effect to spread so quickly. Within just an hour, people from all over the world sent back pictures of themselves high-fiving in the mirror. Men, women, children, grandparents at home, at work, even in a bathroom at a domestic violence shelter. Looking at those photos, I saw the same energy, the excitement, smiles on their faces, radiant eyes. High fives suddenly became a symbol that no matter where you are, no matter what you have or have lost, you still have yourself, and you are your first point of support. A high five costs nothing, but gives you a moment of being seen, of being affirmed that you exist, that you have value. When I started to realize that, I understood it wasn't just me who needed it, we all did. And to truly prove its power, I delved deeper. I called people who had tagged me in their high-five photos. The common thread in their stories was that when they high-fived themselves, they couldn't think negatively. They couldn't touch the mirror and whisper, I hate this body. The brain refused it. Instead, a laugh burst out, a sense of relief crept in. Similarly, you can't high-five and still worry about your to-do list or tomorrow's anxieties. For a high five to have power, you must be fully present. Your hand must touch, your eyes must see, your body must focus. And in that very moment, your brain stops the spiral of thoughts, making room for a feeling, I see you, I believe in you. That's why I say a high five isn't just a simple gesture. It's an act of self-affirmation. When you touch the mirror, you affirm that you are worthy of belief, worthy of love. More than that, this moment opens a space for you to reflect on yourself. Who do I want to be today? How do I want to live? Normally, when we look in the mirror, we just glance to check our appearance, then immediately rush into the flow of work. High-fiving transforms that moment into an opportunity to pause, to ask yourself questions. Research at Business Insider has proven that just a few minutes of daily reflection significantly increases productivity, motivation, and work effectiveness. The more people participated, the more high fives became a movement, from colleagues, friends, and family to even large corporations. Everyone started incorporating this habit into their group culture. I've shared this with hundreds of thousands of people in my talks, and the results are clear. They changed how they saw themselves, becoming more resilient, confident, and engaged. Evidence continues to emerge from everywhere. Research on children has shown high fives are the most powerful form of encouragement. Research on teams has proven that the teams with the most high fives are often the most successful. Google's research confirms that a psychologically safe environment where each individual is recognized is the #1 factor for creating effective teams. All roads lead to one point. People need to be seen, acknowledged, and cheered on. And if you know how to do that for yourself, you will transform every other relationship. But I didn't stop there. I wanted to understand it at its core, down to the brain's structure. How could such a simple action overturn the habit of self-criticism? I turned to the concept of neurobics, as I mentioned. It's how the brain forms new pathways when we combine an unexpected behavior with a desired emotion, and high fives fit perfectly. A familiar behavior in an unfamiliar situation, linked with positive emotion. When you high-five yourself, your brain is surprised. This is new. Attention is drawn to that action. Then, thanks to a lifetime of high-five memories, your subconscious immediately links it to belief and encouragement. Gradually, the result is, when you look in the mirror, your first reflex is no longer to scrutinize flaws, but a feeling that you deserve to be cheered on. I once doubted myself. Could this really change brain structure? So, I sought out Dr. Judy Willis, a leading neuroscientist. After hearing my story, she confirmed, yes, you've created a new automatic behavior. You've formed positive pathways to replace negative self-talk, and if you can do it, anyone can. Remember, what you repeatedly think becomes your subconscious's default. If your default is, I'm not good enough, I always fail, I'm worthless, then that's the lens through which you view the entire world. I used to be like that, defaulting to the belief that faults were always mine, that someone was always angry with me. A high five is the way to rewrite that default. And when you practice it enough, self-kindness becomes a habit. Research has clearly shown that among all factors influencing happiness, self-kindness is pivotal. Yet we disregard it the most. We easily diet, hit the gym, wake up early, but still mentally torment ourselves. When we continue to repeat that cycle, we get stuck. But the good news is, this pattern can be broken. What was learned in childhood doesn't have to dominate your entire life. You can be the one to put an end to the cycle of harshness, self-blame, and being stuck. I need to emphasize one thing. The high five is not about toxic positivity. It doesn't ask you to look at tragedy and pretend everything is fine. It doesn't deny pain, nor does it sugarcoat injustice. Life can be cruel, unfair, and sometimes crush you with trauma. Discrimination, loss, addiction, chronic pain, abuse, all are real. No one can deny them with a few magic words. But high-fiving gives you the extra strength to face them. It doesn't change your circumstances, but it changes you. It gives you the belief that you can survive, keep going, and then, step by step, rewrite your own story. Listen to Lauren's story. A single mother, in 1 year, she lost her best friend to suicide and left a toxic relationship. She was once engulfed in feelings of not being enough, of failure, of not being worthy of living. Then she started high-fiving when she saw the mirror. She said, every time I do it, I remind myself that I'm alive, I still have dreams, and I want my daughter to see that I am enough, no matter what life throws at me. Kendra, even when her company didn't hit sales targets, still high-fived every day to keep herself encouraged. Rachel, after weeks of struggling with a project, finally completed it. The feedback she received was merely, it's all right, normal. She would usually torment herself, sinking into disappointment. But that day, she walked to the mirror, high-fived herself, and rewarded herself with an afternoon off. These stories show that the high five is a silent teammate. It reminds you that you can get back up no matter how many times you're knocked down, just like on the playground when you fall. A teammate reaches out, slaps your hand, and says, keep going. You can absolutely be that teammate for yourself. Someone asked, what if I don't feel like doing it? The answer is, do it anyway. It's only doing things when you feel like it that keeps you in a rut. Life doesn't get easier just because you wait for inspiration. It gets easier when you learn to do difficult things, even when you're not in the mood. Paula, a woman who once shared with me that she hated the idea of self-encouragement. She said, I envy those who dare to love themselves. I think, if I show off my achievements, will others see me as conceited? I feel unworthy of pride. It's much easier to stand in the shadows and applaud others. Those words held real pain, a longing to be seen and acknowledged, yet blocked by her own self. The high five is the first step to breaking down that wall. Many also said they were surprised to find tears falling when they first high-fived themselves. Alice recounted, I tried it, expecting nothing, and unexpectedly burst into tears. My soul had been waiting for that for so long. Wendy felt utterly exhausted on the very first day, then went to bed early. The next day, she woke up full of energy and managed to do things she'd been postponing for ages. She said, "Perhaps I finally untangled some knots in my heart." The reaction could be laughter, or it could be tears, but all are normal. Michael said that after his high five, he blushed as if someone had just praised him. Janet couldn't help but jump for joy after touching the mirror. It's true. When you acknowledge yourself, emotions will flood out without any pattern. Don't forget, the power of the high five lies in its simplicity. If it were too complicated, you wouldn't do it. Tools are only effective when you actually use them. And the high five is one of the easiest, most enjoyable, and instantly effective tools. You just need to repeat it every morning, making it a habit. Someone asked, "Why do it in the morning?" Because the morning is when your mood shapes your entire day. Research shows that your morning mood affects your productivity and actions for the next 24 hours. Starting with a high five, you plant a positive state in your brain, and you'll be surprised to see it last all day. Furthermore, mornings are often when you're swept away by the needs of others. Emails, social media, work, children. The high five is a rare moment of stillness that belongs to you before the world crashes in. It teaches you to put yourself first, at least for the first few seconds of the day. I remember Nina. A woman told me she was excellent at encouraging everyone, friends, colleagues, even strangers, but had never thought of encouraging herself. When she high-fived, she laughed and realized the message she had just sent to her best friend. Saying she was good enough, beautiful enough, creative enough was precisely what she needed to hear for herself. Others worried, "What if I don't want to get the mirror dirty?" The answer, it's up to you. You can touch or not. You can high five or low five. The method isn't important. What matters is the presence and the meaning you give to the action. Some also wondered, can I high five without a mirror just by slapping my hand in the air? The answer is no. That's just a clumsy clap. The essential element is the reflection. You must see yourself, connect the message of encouragement with your own face and eyes. That is the key. When I'm asked if high fives work for everyone, the answer is always yes, but only if you actually do it. This isn't a magic spell that appears for 2 days and then vanishes. This is a habit that requires repetition, like any other. At first, you'll feel awkward, silly, even want to give up. But if you persevere, it will become a part of who you are. Lisa and her 9-year-old daughter started trying it. After just the first day, her daughter was beaming, saying she felt so happy she just couldn't stop smiling. I also felt the positivity spreading immediately. Such reactions show that sometimes the simplest things touch the heart fastest. Some wondered why not just high-five others. Don't we do that every day? The answer is yes. You high-five everyone else, but you forget yourself. You pour all your energy into pleasing, into accommodating, into reflecting the gaze of others. You believe your worth depends on how they see you. But in reality, 1,000,000 likes on social media won't mean anything if you don't like yourself. A high five is a way to turn the mirror around, so you stop seeking external validation and start giving it to yourself. And when you truly do that, don't be surprised if tears well up. That emotion isn't weakness, it's the truth. Your soul has been waiting for recognition from yourself for too long. Many cried on their first try. Others, like Wendy, felt utterly drained after trying it, then slept a long sleep and woke up the next morning with new energy. Some, like Michael, blushed with joy, or Janet jumped for glee. All of it is correct. I want you to understand. This is not a joke. Its simplicity is its strength. Many self-help tools fail because they're too complicated, because you have to try to remember every step, every process. The high five is the opposite. You just need to repeat it every morning. It's easy, fun, and the positive feeling makes you want to do it again. When asked why this is called a habit, I reply, because habit means a repeated pattern. You don't need to wait until you feel worthy to love yourself. You need to make it a daily habit so that gradually your brain believes it's natural. One participant recounted, I woke up in the middle of the night to let the dog out, passed by the mirror, stopped, high-fived, then went back to bed. I did it unconsciously. When a behavior becomes a midnight reflex, you know it's deeply ingrained in your brain. I assert that anyone can do it, but it's crucial to emphasize that you must practice it repeatedly until it becomes instinctual. Not read once and dismiss, not try for 2 days and conclude it's useless. Think of it this way. For years, you've repeatedly practiced the habit of self-criticism until it became a reflex. So, to change, you also need a new behavior, repeated over and over, and the high five is that replacement. If you're in a difficult situation, remember that a high five doesn't make the pain disappear, but it changes how you face it. You might be sitting in a hospital bed, having just gone through a breakup, lost your job, or received bad news. But when you high five, you give yourself an ally, a reminder that I'm still here and I will keep going. Rachel, the woman I mentioned, had previously crumbled when she received merely, "all right," feedback on her work. But this time, she walked to the mirror, high-fived, and told herself, "I put in the effort, and I'm proud of it." That was enough to help her step out of the familiar spiral of self-blame. And I want you to know this habit isn't just for moments of victory, it's even more crucial when you fail. Because like in a marathon, the spectators don't just cheer when you cross the finish line. They cheer at every station, at every step you still have the strength to take. Without encouragement along the way, you'll give up before you see the finish line. Life is the same. So if right now you feel like a failure, a high five is what you need most. Do it, because you deserve encouragement even when you're down. Perhaps especially when you're down. Think of life as a steel forge. Every crack, every failure is a fire. They don't destroy you, they temper you. But to stand up again, you need to acknowledge yourself. Right in that red-hot fire, I once made the mistake of thinking,